I always feel like you should put, God first, your family, and then the people that take care of you, friends and family and customers.
Thank you so much for having us today, Alan. We're talking about a lot of things today, but the main thing we want to focus on right now is you've been traveling a lot. Let's talk about that.
Well, I have made a trip to Alaska in the last several months. I have been to the hurricane relief sites down in South Louisiana, and then I actually just got back from a fun trip in Southwest Texas.
So something fun.
Something fun. It's not always work.
Take us on that Alaska trip real quick.
So in Alaska, my best friend here in Vicksburg, his wife called and said, I've got an uncle that has gone out on a Dall sheep hunt, and he lives in Alaska. He's stationed in Alaska. He knows Alaska. It's not anything that's unfamiliar to him. And basically said, he's got certain checkpoints, and when he goes hunting, when he reaches those checkpoints, he reaches out to his fiance and says, hey, all's good. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm encountering. Hey, here's a picture. Sends a picture. And they had gone about 3 or 4 days where they had not heard or tracked him through his Garmin inReach.
Wow.
And so about 3 or 4 days into that no communication, she reached out and said, who do you know in Alaska? Because he was active Army, which led to him being stationed there. She knew that I'm a veteran, and it's a small community. And I said, I know some people. What's wrong? Because that's just not your, hey, who do you know in Alaska?
Right.
That's not normal.
Yeah, it's not a normal question.
And so she went on to tell me, and I knew Dave went out on these hunting expeditions for weeks at a time, and I knew that, I could just tell something was off. I knew something was going on. She didn't just come out and tell me, but when you know your people,
yes,
you can tell tone, reflection.
Yeah.
And I knew right away something was up. And so she proceeded to tell me what was going on. She told me that, he was on this trip, and that they had not heard from him about 2 days past his normal communication time. And so I said, look, you've told me all I need to know. I'm going to start reaching out to people, but I'm also going to book a flight because I did a lot of neat stuff in the Army. I have the ability to go and help and do search and rescue stuff. I worked at Vicksburg Fire Department, had rescue skills from that as well. And so within, essentially 2 days, I was in Alaska with Robin Greer is who called, with her brother, and we were working hand in hand with the Alaskan search and rescue teams in the region. And so as we touched down in Alaska, we had gotten word that they had found him, but we still had to recover all of his hunting equipment, his campsite, his pickup truck, his ATV. All of this stuff was still in the wilderness.
Wow.
And so we kind of went on a expedition, if you will.
The fun part.
That's right. And so I went home. I told my wife, told all my employees, like, hey, I'm going to disappear for a few days. And instantly everybody was like, oh my God, you're going to get eaten by a bear. And I said, I was like, no.
Any strange encounters like that?
We didn't even see a bear.
Wow.
I actually made a joke with a lot of people up there. I said, all these Alaskan TV shows are just lies. There's no Alaskan
all
state
deception.
troopers. I never saw a state trooper. I never saw a moose.
Wow.
I never saw a bear. And so there are restaurants and Walmarts in Alaska. It's not just the bush people. So that's all.
Oh my God.
So,
that's gonna be my next question. Okay, did you see any moose?
I didn't see any wildlife other than a porcupine.
Oh my God.
So the whole time I was thinking, my whole life is a lie because there's none of this stuff.
Right.
They actually have houses and power, and it's not all just the Alaskan bush people.
So what was one of your biggest takeaways from that trip? Obviously, it wasn't something you just went on just to have fun.
Yeah, it wasn't a fun trip. Okay, so I went there. I was set out to help find him and his equipment. They found him before I got there. Right as I was actually arriving, I got the phone call as soon as I hit the ground. Hey, we've recovered the body. But I can tell you the biggest takeaway from that is Dave actually got to go out doing exactly what he loved doing. So many people die of cancer or car wrecks, heart attacks. And you don't know where they were at in their life. They may have had a bucket list they were trying to fulfill. I honestly feel like when he died, it was doing exactly what he was supposed to be doing that moment. In the wilderness, camping, hunting these Dall sheep, enjoying God's creation.
Enjoying life.
It's beautiful up there, man. I've got photos of his campsites and where he was at, and I could see why he went up there weeks at a time and just got lost in the wilderness. I mean, it was absolutely breathtaking. So, you know, I always tell people, live life to the fullest. I think that's exactly what he was doing.
So, Alan, you all obviously survived the pandemic. We're still in a pandemic, but one of the, I guess, worst parts of the pandemic you survived. What are some of your biggest takeaways being a business owner with some of the products that you offer here and then going through the pandemic?
So, rewind back to, you know, latter part of 2019, early part of 2020, we started recognizing, you know, people were getting sick, but, you know, they weren't testing positive for flu, they weren't testing positive for strep. So I myself, last February, started feeling really bad. My family had all been diagnosed with the flu at Christmas time. I've never had the flu, didn't know what to expect, didn't know what it felt like other than watching them. And so in February, I started feeling under the weather, had a fever that would kind of come and go, a real bad cough. Not going to say it was, you know, COVID, but went to the doctor, tested negative for everything they could screen you for at the time because there were no tests at the time. And my doctor just said, you've got a viral infection of some sort. And so gave me a Z-Pack and some stuff. And
Z-Pack.
Over the course of a month, I felt better, but I still had this lingering cough. My wife and I went to Gatlinburg on an anniversary trip in the first part of March. And, you know, you're kind of isolated. We had a cabin in the woods, in the mountains. And so we came to town just to get a couple odds and ends, and all of a sudden we're on the radio and we hear people saying, you know, you better rush out, there's no toilet paper, there's no hand sanitizer. So we go to Kroger's in Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge, and we're walking into the store and everything's gone. Every shelf is empty, and we're like, what is going on?
People,
like,
at that point, people were panic buying.
Right, and so we came back home, and then the week later, Gatlinburg is completely closed down in the history of me being alive. I've never seen that. And then so I get here, and I have a meeting immediately, and I'm like, guys, I have no idea what this is going to mean for our business. At that time, I'd only been in business about 3 years, so being a new business owner, you know, how do you prepare for that? What do you do? And so I said, I'm going to try and maintain everybody I can, but I don't know. They're putting people on lockdown. You know, there's curfews. My immediate thought was everybody that has any money is going to hold on to their money. Nobody knew about any kind of government assistance at the time. And so I said, just bear with me. If we can keep this place open and running, obviously that's my entire life goal. And it was the exact opposite. People were at home. Luckily for most people, especially here in Vicksburg, government jobs kept people employed. They did work remotely. Our business grew exponentially. People were sitting at home yelling, you know, I don't really need to pay someone to cut my grass because I'm here now 5 days a week.
I can do it.
And so they came in and they bought lawnmowers. They recognized that, you know, everybody was saying if you're going to do any activities with large gatherings, do it outside. So people were buying all of our ATVs and side-by-sides. So they were, you know, that market grew. And then I realized this is bad for a lot of people, but it's really good for the retail business. I was looking at some of my friends here in town with restaurants and just feeling horrible. You know, here we are having the greatest year in the 4 years that I've owned the place, and right down the road I've got 3 close friends that have zero business because the restaurant industry all but shut down other than takeout. And so, you know, we encourage people to spend their money in takeout or, you know, do everything they could locally to keep the doors open to local business owners. For us, we kind of thrive, but every day we were counting our blessings, and then every day I started noticing my inventory getting smaller and smaller with no replenishment, and I was going, okay, well this was good while it lasted, but I'm not real sure how long it's going to last. But it's been good. You know, obviously we always want more. in business, not in a greed standpoint, but just for a growth standpoint. We've been able to maintain all of our employees. We've actually hired 4 employees. So it's been a double-edged sword for us. Obviously, we care about the health and welfare of people, but we also really care about our business and keeping our employees employed and continuing a service to our community, essentially.
And speaking of obviously business and selling items, what are some of the things that you offer for those who have never heard of Patriot Motorsports?
So we sell 5 different brands of lawnmowers, push mowers, traditional riding tractor lawnmowers, 0 turns. We offer tractor implements, so we have push hogs, box blades, disc, ATVs and side-by-sides. So we have Can-Am and Polaris ATV and side-by-sides, which are some of the most prestigious, it's the number 1 and 2 selling vehicles in the country. We offer chainsaws, we offer weed eaters, all the oil and gas jugs. We offer cleaning supplies for all the equipment we sell. The biggest takeaway is that we have, a complete service department. We do warranty work on everything we sell. One of the biggest things that I didn't know that was going to take off would be our trailers. We sell trailers that are in high demand. We got a shipment this morning about 8 o'clock, and we've probably sold through half of them because the demand is so high with no supply.
Yeah.
And then we have a humongous parts department. So between parts, service, and then our whole goods sales,
the whole shebang.
we have a lot to offer Vicksburg and the surrounding area. So
well, as always, we wish you the best from Vicksburg Daily News. That's all the time we have today, but thank you so much for allowing us to come in and just talk to you about business and how things have been going so far and your journey to Alaska. So we apologize that it wasn't what you expected. No, I'm kidding.
No, look, it was a rewarding thing. I always feel like you should put, God first, your family, and then the people that take care of you, friends and family and customers. And without a doubt, when she made that call, I just felt like it was the right thing to do. Whether you're just helping someone with a flat tire or providing a service to the community, we always need to remember how the world works. And essentially, if you can't help somebody, they're never going to help you. It's a full circle thing. And so here at Patriot Motorsports, we always like to put our customer first. It has been very trying through all this, but at the end of the day, we're going to make it work the best we can make it work. So
perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time.
No problem.